Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Science and Stuff podcast. I am your host, Joseph Nowak. With me, as always, I have my co-host, Ethan Vargas. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing swell. And then we also have our amazing moderator, Mr. Og.
We just say moderator.
And today, we have a special guest, our very own Vice President, Nick Swalen. How's it going, Nick?
Great. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, interesting episode today. You know, it's part of a scientist's job that they need to be able to predict certain scenarios in order to, find which the best outcome. So what better way to do that than with a couple of scientific would you rathers? Now, some of these are going to be for fun. Some of these are a bit of a head scratcher. So we have a kind of a good mix, and we'll all just do a small input on everyone because we've got about 9. So I'll start off. The first one is, would you rather have lunch with Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein?
Ooh.
Now, first of all, does anyone have an immediate answer? Or does anyone have strong opinions about this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I could go first, maybe.
Sure.
I would say maybe Isaac Newton, just because I feel like he's just a little bit more interesting. Albert Einstein's pretty interesting, but I feel like he'd just be a little bit more fun to be around. I'm not sure why. I just feel like he would. Joey, do you have any ideas?
I've always heard, and maybe Mr. Rock correcting me on this, that Newton had a bit of an ego to him. He was always super cocky. No one really liked him just because he was extremely arrogant. So I think the subject material that he knew, I think would be more interesting to talk about. He basically invented calculus and a good amount of physics. But I don't think he would be a good person to sit down and have lunch with. I think just from what you've seen, Einstein, there's always photos of him just laughing, or the classic one with his tongue out. I feel like he'd be a very personable person to talk with. So I would have to give the regards to Einstein on this.
Joe, I'm going to jump in here and agree with almost everything you said. Isaac Newton was infamous for being a huge jerk. He's one of those people who there's a sort of idea that you should never assume you're the smartest person in the room, right? I think Isaac Newton was normally the smartest person in whatever room he was in, and this fueled his ego, and so he was not well liked. He was kind of a loner. So everything you said is true, Joe, and for that reason, I'm actually going to go the different conclusion that you did. I'm going to pick Isaac Newton because, yes, I think Einstein would be more fun. Man, if I get one lunch with Isaac Newton, I'm just fascinated to see how that would go.
Yeah, I could see that.
So that's where I'm leaning. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I was going to say Isaac Newton as well. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like his cocky nature and his egotistical self would kind of drive the conversation. I feel like it'd be kind of interesting, see where his mindset's at,
Yeah.
What drove him to make all of the conclusions he did and invent what he did.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Einstein would be the more fun option because, the boy Albert, but I feel like, he's born in Germany, probably won't have much, he wouldn't relate to much of what we're doing nowadays. So I feel like Isaac Newton's the move here.
Okay.
Opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm a bit alone on this one then. Awesome. I think that we all bit it, so I'll go to the next one. Would you rather have a world with 50% more friction or 50% less friction? Now, I heard this one yesterday, so I did a bit of a thinking. And the way I thought this would work is that it's kind of like a Thanos snap. At the end of Infinity War, instead of wanting to remove half of the people in the universe, Thanos snapped his fingers and instantly there was 50% more friction or 50% less friction. The reason I say this is because I wonder how this would affect the human body. Because, if we say a world with 50% more friction, in a general circumstance, it may think that humans adapted to that. But if we think that this is like a Thanos snap, what would 50% more friction or 50% less friction do like to the human body? I think that's, which one is probably gonna be more likely to kill someone, honestly. I would argue for more, I think more friction. I think that there's a lot of stuff that passes through the body. And I think having more friction could like impede that to the point where it probably even takes more energy to do that. So you'd have to consume more as well. So yeah, I think solely based off that, I'd probably go for less friction. But then also there's also the point that like a lot of like mechanical systems today are usually they lose a lot of energy towards friction, thinking like motors and stuff like that. So having that to make like more efficient machinery, and more efficient like energy transfer. Could I think that I would go with less friction on this one. Ethan.
I'd have to agree with you there, man.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was
Oh, yeah.
Ethan who's gonna
Oh, sorry, it's
share?
fine.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's
Nick,
fine if
you
you-
can go.
Oh, well, going off your logic, Joe, I feel like 50% less friction would be the better move. I feel like it'd just make life a lot more easy, just very laid back and chill. Because 50% more friction make everything more hard. And you know how human beings nowadays we like easy stuff. We like stuff to be easy. We like stuff to be straightforward. So I feel like less friction would be the move here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was thinking less friction too, because if it was kind of like a Thanos snap kind of situation, then that would be pretty bad, because then cars would just like not be able to stop. They just crash in like immense,
Yeah.
like really more often. But if it's like a world that was kind of like an alternate universe where they've already like dealt with that for like all their lives, I feel like it wouldn't be that much of a problem. So, and I think it would have more benefits of like moving things faster, like a super fast train, or just cars, or airplanes in general too. So I think less friction would probably be better, unless it was like a Thanos snap, and maybe more friction, because then I don't think it would like cause as much damage.
Yeah, it's interesting when we have different viewpoints. I'm going to echo exactly what everybody else is saying. I would also go 50% less friction. In class, we talk about how a world with no friction would actually be terrible, right? It sounds fun, but things would not work. 50% less friction would mean we still have friction, right? And Joe, you brought up the thing that was really the driving force in my decision, which was that efficiency of machines and procedures would be so much higher. And so I was thinking of it purely from an energy standpoint, right? We're losing less energy to thermal energy every time. So things would be more efficient. I think we would be able to get more out of the energy we have. That's why I'm going 50% less friction.
Sweet. So everyone agreed on one. I doubt this is gonna happen again, but we'll see. Number 3, a fairly simple one. Would you rather go to Mars or to the moon? Does anyone else want to start on this one?
I could go first.
Oh, go for it, Ethan.
Okay. I was thinking that Mars, because the moon, it's like, it's cool, but like then it's like there's no sky really except like outer space. But Mars has like a atmosphere of sorts, or at least more than Mars does. So, and like nobody's really been there yet, or not in person. So I feel like Mars would be a better option as of right now. Nick, you can go.
I'd go Mars as well, because I know, Joe, Mark Rober. He just did a kind of a video explaining everything. I don't know, kind of drove my decision here, because I'd love to go to Mars, chill with all the rovers there. What is it? I can't think of the names of the missions off the top of my head. Maybe you can help me out there. Like Serenity or something like that.
Oh,
different.
Geez.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but all of these rovers are chilling on Mars. I kind of like to, experience that for myself. And going off what Ethan said, there's an atmosphere, so we wouldn't be kind of like Mars, where it's just a big rock in the sky. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably leaning towards Mars on this one too, honestly. I feel like not that the moon is overdone, but like a lot of stuff that we've already done with the moon, we've done besides, like mass colonization and stuff. But I kind of feel that, Mars right now at least is kind of this foreign unknown body for the most part, with like there's a lot to be discovered and a lot of different, things that we're not too familiar with. So I think being able to go there and experience that would be super cool. Yeah. Besides, the only thing that would maybe lean me towards moon is the lack of gravity, to be able to jump all over the place. I feel that just like the movement on the moon would probably be more enjoyable.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the moon here, purely on amount of time it takes to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
It takes rough search. It takes about a few days, right,
Yeah.
to get to the moon, and we're talking many months to get to Mars. Ethan, you brought up the ability to get there, first. It hasn't been as populated. I don't think I would be the first one there, and so I think that novelty would not be available to me. Also, I think it would be cool to just be on the moon and turn around and look at the Earth.
Yeah.
I think that is a cool opportunity. So I would go with the moon.
Yeah. Sweet.
Now we're
Next
gonna have a
one.
clean sweep there.
Yeah, no.
Not this time.
Not this time. Next one. Rather time travel to the past or to the future? I have a very strong opinion on this one. I would probably do past for sure. Especially, I think for future, I don't want to know what happens in the future. I feel like in every single sci-fi movie you've ever seen, they travel to the future. They see that like, oh, they ended up dying doing something stupid, or something ended up with the world, like this certain event, and so that you live the rest of your life like paranoid about that, event. I feel like the past, as long as you're safe, you're able to not like intervene in much stuff, and you're able to like. There's so many like people and so many events that happened in the past that you've only really seen in textbooks. So I think just being able to experience those, as well as not like suffering from the paranoia that comes from like traveling to the future, probably said I go with past. Ethan?
Yeah, I do want to see kind of what happens. And that actually reverse. I want to see what happens in the future.
Okay.
Not like for like personal reasons, just like to see like what we can accomplish, and maybe just like if it's any better, probably stay there. Like, do we have the option to come back or no? Do you think?
Ooh.
To the present.
Would that mean that Joe would
yeah.
be staying in the past?
If
Yeah,
that's
am I
if we don't,
stuck?
Uh-oh.
Okay. How about either way? What would you do if you could stay, and then what would you do if you couldn't?
if I could stay, I'd probably do the future because
Yeah.
like we know what happens in the past, and we could avoid like bad things, like maybe like wars or like personally, like if I get stuck there. But I feel like just being stuck in the future would be terrible because we're expecting to have like some kind of advances in like life and technology. So I don't think that'd be too bad. If I could come back, I'd still say future. Just I just kind of like the future more.
Yeah.
Okay, so personally, I would actually, Joe, I'll be honest with you, man. You hit every single point of why I
Yeah.
want to go to the past spot
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, I had every single point you mentioned. I was going to say that, but you hit everything spot on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you, obviously, you guys probably know Back to the Future.
Mhm.
I know obviously it's in the name Back to the Future, but do you know, I think it's the third movie. They went to the old West. Man, was that cool. And we know everything that's already happened in the past. So like, why not just go experience it for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Is it flexible? Like, can you switch time periods, or is it just you have to pick one and stick one?
I guess it's kind of up to you, however you interpret the question. So
Okay, so if you can like go to 1900 and then 1600 back to back, then yeah, I'd go to the past. But if you'd have to stick to one, I don't know. I might go to the future, but it's kind of a iffy answer for me.
yeah.
And I'm gonna jump on the past bandwagon here. I'm worried that Ethan's gonna pull a Back to the Future 2, steal the sports almanac and use it to come back and win lots of money by gambling on the World Series.
Yeah.
I also, if I'm gonna have my lunch with Isaac Newton, I gotta pick the past. I think the ability to just meet people that I've read about would be fantastic.
Sweet. Next one. Interesting kind of question. Would you rather have the eyesight of an owl or the ears of a bat? Anyone wanna start off on this one?
Super sight or super sound? I'll start on this one. I would rather have the eyesight of an owl. I feel that the ears of a bat would become very overwhelming to me. And the number of sounds that we just do not acknowledge on a normal basis. I guess I could get used to it eventually, like Daredevil, but that seems like a lot. Whereas it would be nice to just sort of see really far, right? See what's coming up. I would go with Eyes of an Owl.
Yeah, I'll probably have to second that. I've always had crummy eyes. That's why I wear glasses. But I think just having like the ability to have like being able to see stuff from super far away, plus the ability to see at night, I think is a huge plus as well. But I think probably the main reason is just not wanting to have bad ears, because I've had like earwax cleanings, and even like that, like slightly larger sensitivity is super annoying for me. So I think having that on the scales of like a bat could be like even worse. Unless you get like what is it, like supersonic? Like the ability to what's it called? Where they echolocation or something. If you get that, that might sway me to bat just because
I think you would have that since
would
they
if
are
you-
the ears of a bat.
Oh, that makes that much
Uh-oh.
harder.
He didn't think this
Uh-oh.
one through.
Actually, I'm gonna switch. I think
Oh!
echolocation is such an ability that like
Yeah.
I feel like would be so cool to have. Just the ability to just see where everything is through sound instead of sight. Yeah, the echolocation for sure.
Well, I was gonna back you at first, Joe, with your eyesight of an owl mindset, but now that you switched to the dark side, I gotta stick with Mr. Og here. I got a question though. If I have the eyesight of an owl, will I still have like regular ears, or does it like balance each other out?
No, everything else remains the same. It's only
Yeah.
one thing that is being heightened.
Yeah, 100% eyesight of an owl. Then love to just go from my balcony and just look at Europe just from the safety of my own home. That's kind of dope. I'd prefer that 100%. But now that you brought up the echolocation, that is kind of cool. But I still would go with the eyes of an owl, hopping on that bandwagon.
I'm gonna side with Joe. I think I want the bat ears because at first I was thinking my instinct was owl eyes, but I was thinking more about it in Daredevil. Like he can like see, like hear everything or see things through sound, kind of like echolocation. So I just think that'd be like to me like way like cooler and more fun to like just be able to see where everything is or see who's near you at all times without really having to look.
Yeah.
I feel like I think I'd go bat ears.
Yeah, hide and seek would be over. You'd win for sure. There's
Exactly.
no hiding from bat ears. Okay, next one. Bit of choose the worst of the better of the two evils. Would you rather be stuck in a dry desert or a frozen tundra? Huh. I'd probably go tundra, because there is water in the form of ice. If you find some trees, I know I'm pretty sure trees are kind of scarce in a tundra, but if you're able to find trees and you can like make a fire, then you can get water. There's also probably like certain caves in a tundra that you could use to like make it so that you don't freeze to death.
I would just like to jump in very quickly here and say that a quick search of the definition of tundra says that a tundra is a vast, flat, treeless Arctic region.
Okay.
So
There's
I just want to be clear here. You're creating this perfect environment where it's just about your survival. I think we have to
Yeah.
honor the definition of the tundra.
Okay. A dry desert or frozen tundra.
And in fact, every definition I'm looking at does say that it is treeless.
It is treeless.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang. I think I would have to go desert on this one, just because you could find water through cactuses. You could get food through like bugs, and it's gonna be hard to get food in the tundra just because it's like a frozen ground, and the only people who can actually get food in there are like animals and stuff. And then the only other thing is like making sure you don't overheat. But I mean, if you're not gonna overheat, you're probably gonna freeze. You're either gonna freeze to death or burn to death. Honestly, if you can't find either one. But I think if you have to survive somewhere, I'm guessing it's probably desert. At least for me.
I'd actually disagree with you there,
Okay.
Mr. Nowak. I'd go frozen tundra here. It's kind of a minority vote here, but because I feel like you guys are going to all choose the desert. But
You don't know what we're gonna pick.
I've just, using Joe's logic, I think you all pick the desert, but I don't know. So I don't know if you guys remember that episode from SpongeBob, Frozen Tundra. There's like a bunch of like big mountains. There's a lot of polar bears and stuff. I feel like you can make way. I feel like it's going to be difficult, but in a desert, it's not many ways you can, like cool yourself down because of like the humidity and stuff. So like, kind of be tough, but there's several ways that you can make fire out of nothing. So like, I feel like if you make way and you like, make use of like all the polar bears like for food and for like or like their skin as kind of like dressing, I feel like you can make way and you can kind of make a life out of it. But if there's a scarcity of food and like animals and stuff, that'll be a problem. I'll be honest with you.
That's assuming you can kill a polar bear too.
Hey man, I'm pretty strong. I can do much.
Okay.
I can do a lot. Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
I can go next. I think I would choose desert because, I mean, yeah, I'm just going off Joe's logic. There are bugs to eat, and you could like wrap like your shirt around your head, kind of like to protect your head from the sun. So that could be something. Or I mean, and then yeah, I was thinking like, is that like a dune desert, like in like I'm not like sure where, but like just
Like the novel Dune, are there going to be sandworms?
Yeah,
Do I
exactly.
get to ride sandworms?
Yeah, that was my plan. But yeah,
That'd be
I
fun.
mean, I feel like it was like a desert, kind of like close, like the Badlands kind of are, where it's like just kind of flat. That may be better. But if I'm assuming it's probably like a sand desert. I think I'd still choose desert just because I feel like I'm not sure. I just feel like you'd have a better chance of surviving.
Yeah. I also like to point out that in desert, it's only going to be hot like half of the day because it actually gets kind of cold throughout the night. Whereas in a tundra, it is like cold throughout the entire time. So there's nowhere like way you can like recuperate. But like you could like move throughout like the afternoon in like a desert and then just do nothing during the midday where it's super hot.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Rogak.
No, that's okay. I'm also going to go tundra here. Listen,
Ooh.
I don't think I stand much chance. I think I'm toast either way. Or I guess I'm toast in one and
Yeah.
popsicle in the
Right.
other. And so I'm just going, I know this is not good logic for this. I'm just going off of my base reaction to, do I prefer to be very cold or very hot?
Oh,
And I would go very cold. I know that
okay.
if I'm on a tundra, it's not going to make much difference. But that's, like I said, I don't think there's much chance for me
Yeah.
either way. So I'm going to go with that.
Okay. Oh, okay. So next one, a little bit of a head scratcher. Would you rather have one data point from a single well-placed sensor, or one data point from 1 million randomly placed sensors? Now, I'm just going to ask Mr. Rock because I think you found this one.
Yeah.
Are the randomly placed sensors within the range of, like, are we talking about like 1 million than like the scope of like the Earth, and you're trying to measure something extremely small, or?
That's a good question. I think we'll define it as a million different locations on the Earth. The crux of this question is, would you rather know for certainty a lot about one very specific thing, or would you rather know a little bit about a lot of things?
Okay. Single data point. I might have to hand this one off to someone else first. Let me think about this one.
Oh, you're yielding the floor.
Yielding the floor for this.
Oh,
I feel
man.
like the main question here is, what's the amount that you know? Like, how little is little? Like, how little would you know
It's
about?
one data point.
So like, oh, I know how to say ni hao in a different language, or I know how to say hi in a different language. Is that like?
Not quite. So remember, there's sensors. So it's actually measuring something. So for example, I'm gonna go with something that off of our most recent unit in physics, in college prep physics, which was waves, right? Talking about waves and measuring earthquakes, right? How do you measure earthquakes?
Size.
Yep.
Yeah.
Use the seismometer. You put something in the ground that will shake, and then when the earth shakes, it captures that data, and it gives you a graph that you can read to take a look at the waveform of the earthquake, right? So if we're thinking about that, would we rather have a data point from like one well-placed sensor, so we know like exactly for sure about one specific earthquake occurrence, or would we like just a bunch of them placed all over the place without our control, and we would get one data point from each of those?
So okay.
So yeah. Oh, you want to go, Joe? I'm sorry.
Sure. I'll probably go with the million, just because what the million does is gives a sense of scope, which I don't think the single sensor would do. And I think assuming that we're using like 100 or like 1 million randomly placed sensors, this is probably like some large scale event. So I think having the scope of, this event either being like an earthquake or tsunami or something like that. And then, you have like the certain sizes of throughout there, you could probably find an accuracy of that one placed sensor, or the chances that one of those million randomly placed sensors is a single well-placed sensor. Plus 1 million is a lot of sensors too. Like the amount of data points you can actually get from that is a lot. So
that is a lot of sensors. Nick, you had a thought?
Yeah. So actually, when Joe puts it that way, it's actually kind of interesting. I'd still stick with the one sensor though, the one data point, because if you really know a lot about something, like every single like thing that you can know about like a certain thing, I feel like that'll account for like all of the different scopes of thought. And I feel like you'll be able to account for a lot of data just from that one data point. But now that Joe puts it that way, I feel like a million different like viewpoints over it kind of makes a little bit more sense. So I'd actually go with the million as well. I kind of contradicted myself, but I'll go with the million as well. I feel like that's a lot better of a choice than the one point data.
I would agree with Joe and Nick. I think 1 million sensors would, like Joe said, would give a good scope, at least like a bigger picture of just like one spot. Though the one sensor would give a lot of data that'd be useful maybe, but I feel like if anything to like really compare it to, is really like it's not like extremely helpful. So I feel like 1 million sensors would be better.
Yeah, I have nothing to add here. I completely agree with everything that's been said. I would go scope. I would go a million randomly placed sensors.
Wow. Another 4 for 4.
Yeah, I
Unanimous.
think that's our second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I really like the last two. I'm intrigued to see where these
Yeah.
go.
Okay. First of the last two, would you rather switch 100 homes or 100 vehicles to clean energy? Interesting.
Mm.
100 homes or 100 vehicles? Hmm. Oh, this it's a. I might be thinking too far into this, but I'd probably go with the vehicles simply because for homes, the place that they're getting probably energy from is probably going to be some like large power plant using coal or something. But if you switch those like 100 homes off the grid, I don't think that they're going to stop producing like as much like and burning as much coal or producing as much energy as they already do. Whereas I think if you do cars, that's a bunch more like not fuel being used. I might be contradicting myself here now, actually, the more I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, just to clarify, I think if I understand it's a big assumption, right? But the way I'm interpreting this is when we say switch something to clean energy, I realize it's ridiculous and hypothetical, but we're saying that there is no use of fossil fuels
Oh.
at all,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
I don't think we would say for this scenario that a house would still be burning gas because the specifics of the question is now it's clean energy.
It's a toughie.
You know what? I'm still gonna stick with vehicles because I think that a bunch of home switching to clean energy, whereas I'm not exactly sure which one would produce, or which one would like produce emissions the most. But I think having 100 vehicles switch to clean energy, I think that that's a lot more marketable to people around them. Whereas, houses, it's a bit more like, if you want to make your house clean energy, that's a huge decision. Whereas, buying like a clean energy car isn't that big. So I think having 100 people switch to clean energy cars would in turn make more people switch to clean energy than having those initial 100 homes would.
I could go next. So originally I was thinking of going homes because in the long run, it's like cars can break down and have a lot of problems, but like a home that's like clean energy, you usually don't really get many problems, at least with like electricity and like heating and water. So I feel like that would be maybe a better option because I just feel like it would be like it would set an example maybe. Though like you said, it is like a lot more expensive to switch over to car or to houses than cars for clean energy. But that's what I was thinking at first. But then looking at a chart about like the top greenhouse gases that are emitted, transportation is like the majority. It's 28%. So, and you did also bring up that point about it being more like easier for really anybody to do it with like the Tesla cars now and other hybrid type of cars. So I think vehicles. My final answer is gonna be 100 vehicles to change to clean energy.
Yeah, so I really don't have much to add here, but because you guys already hit all the points. But I'd go 100 vehicles. I feel like it'll be more cost efficient, more environmentally efficient, and I feel like it'll be a lot more beneficial or a lot easier to clean the energy or by removing. Wait, hold on. What was I saying? Yeah, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'll go 100 vehicles. Yeah, I don't want to contradict myself.
Joe, I started off with you. I was thinking 100 homes. I thought, that would be pretty great. And then I realized that I wanted to go 100 vehicles because I would specify that they would be planes.
Oh.
I think
Okay.
that we are doing a relatively good job on our own. We could we pick up the pace? Yes, but it's within our ability to increase the amount of clean energy that we use to run houses and cars. Planes, boy, that's tough. And if I can specify which, it's a would you rather. It didn't say
Yeah.
what vehicles I had to do. I'm going to pick 100 planes because I think that's a lot harder for us to maintain the planes that we have, but still find a cleaner way of doing it. If I can magically do it in this scenario, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. And then for our final one, would you rather be able to eat anything you want and have it be perfect nutrition, or have to only sleep 1 hour a day and be fully restored? Ooh. That's actually, I thought this one was super easy until I like start thinking about it more, but I think I still have to give it to sleep. I think having more time in the day is just so big. The fact that like almost like a third of your entire day is spent sleeping is ridiculous. And having to shrink that until like only like 1/24 of your entire day is sleeping. Like think of how much more time I could procrastinate doing my homework, and like it's ridiculous. I mean, I would have so much more time on my hands. But then you also get to the point, like if you're like working, right, and you have an hour-long commute, you could be working all the way up to that, sleep on the way to the commute, and just be fully rested for your job. So I think like all of that's honestly, it's a pretty good deal. And if I want to, I could probably change my nutrition. I just choose not to. So yeah, I would go with the hour a day.
So let me ask you a question based on that, Joe. So eat anything you want and have it be perfect nutrition. Does that mean whenever you're tired, you can just have an apple and you'll be fully restored, right? That means you wouldn't have to sleep, essentially.
I'm going to add one clarification on the way I was interpreting this. I was interpreting it as you can eat literally anything you want and you will be nourished at a perfect level, meaning you could eat McDonald's for 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get overweight. And in fact, you are perfectly energized.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it would be a matter of you could eat anything you want, and there are no detrimental health effects.
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, I'd probably go with the nutrition, because in that case, you don't have to sleep. And like Joe said, sleep, takes up a huge amount of our day. And I feel like if you just eliminate that, you have more time to do other things in life and explore different avenues. So like, I feel like, because, with Joe's standpoint, if you sleep only an hour a day, you can still get fat from McDonald's. So I prefer the nutrition in that sense.
Okay. I was thinking the nutrition, because then you could eat like a cupcake and it'll be like an apple or something, or like anything of like similar to that. So I was thinking at first, and it'd be a lot easier to like manage your your nutrition and what you eat, because you don't really have to care about that. But Joe was saying you would have a lot more efficiency, or like you just have a lot more time on your hands. And I feel like you could get a lot more done, but then like what happens when like you don't have anything to do really? You can't really go to sleep because you'll just wake up in an hour. So you're kind of like just like sitting there. Like in the summer, especially like if you don't have any homework, or you like finish all your video games because you've been spending like 23 hours playing them, not really sleeping. It's like something you can do to a certain point, unless you just keep finding more things. But I feel like nutrition would probably be my choice too, with Nick.
This one's an easy one for me. I'm going with the sleep. No contest. It's tempting to be able to eat whatever you want and not have to worry about it. But Nick, I think you're still going to need sleep, right? Just having a perfect nutrition doesn't remove the need for sleep. You would still need to get the recommended hours in the day so your body can process things. If I only needed 1 hour of sleep, right? I feel like a lot of the bad habits formed by food are, one, that bad food tastes good, right? So that's a battle
Yeah.
you'll have. But two, I also think time is a problem in that to make like a good meal, you just need time. So I think that it would help my nutrition if I had more time. And then Ethan, you said you wouldn't know what to do at the time. Boy, I never get to like read as much as I wish I could. Boom, I would have more time in the day. So I would absolutely go hour sleep a day.
With you saying that, I was going along the mindset of if you have perfect nutrition, you wouldn't have the need to sleep and your body would be like healthy without. And that being said, that you need sleep still, I will switch.
Well,
to
yeah,
the 1 hour.
I think even if you had perfect nutrition, the sleep is not because you are lacking nutrition, right? You need to the need for sleep is not because I didn't reach my calories for the day or I didn't get enough vitamin B, right? Even if you had everything perfect, you still need to sleep. Except in the scenario where for whatever reason I only need to sleep an hour a day. So excellent. That was our last one. I liked those. Those were some good ones. I do have a couple quick trivia questions for us. Here we go. These are inspired by our Would You Rathers. I mean, these are all estimations. These are all guesses.
Awesome.
Okay.
Amazing.
So you don't have to worry about like remembering things. These are purely guesses. The way this will work, I'll give 1 point to the person who's closest. And it's going to be tough, but I'll give you an extra point if you're spot on.
Okay.
Spot on, these are all numbers, okay? So first, inspired by our moon versus Mars, how many miles is the moon from Earth? How many miles is the moon from Earth? The way we do this, Nick, is you just send a direct chat in the Zoom chat window to me. And once we have everybody's, then I will reveal the answer. How far is the moon from Earth in miles?
Is it kind of like, I guess the price we have to be like, if you're below it, you can still like earn it. Is that how it is kind of?
It is not Price is Right rules. I take the closest, be it below or above.
Okay.
And it's just like a private message to you?
Yep. That way you do not influence anyone else's guesses. How far is the moon from the Earth in miles? Ethan has locked in his answer.
Okay, I think I'm underballing it.
Nick has locked in his answer.
I feel like Joe's going to get it spot on.
And Joe has locked in his answer. Interesting. Okay, so Nick went with 150,000 miles. Ethan went with 20,000 miles. And Joe also went with 20,000 miles. The correct answer is 238,900 miles, which means Nick gets the point.
Wow.
Nick, you are on the leaderboard. Well done, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Next question. This is inspired by the frozen tundra. Okay, the coldest recorded temperature is at Dome Fuji, which is an Antarctic base. What was that temperature in Fahrenheit? Coldest recorded temperature. What was it in Fahrenheit? Joe has locked in his answer. Surprisingly, it was not in Chicago. Ethan has locked in his answer.
Oh, gosh. This is pressure.
This is a lot of pressure.
I have this number in my head for some reason, and I'm going to just go with it.
He's got a number in his head. He's typing it out. Cool. The correct answer, Joe went with negative 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Ethan went with a blistering cold negative 4,572 degrees Fahrenheit. And Nick went with negative 175 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is negative 135.8 Fahrenheit, which means by my math that Nick is again the closest.
Oh my gosh. What the heck?
Oh boy, he's going. Can he do a full sweep? Here we go. Inspired by the clean energy for vehicles. I want to know, what is the current going price for a standard rear wheel drive Tesla Model 3?
Oh,
Is Model 3 the most expensive, or is that the?
I'm not going to say that. Model 3 is the sedan one.
So it's the least, I think.
Model 3 is the sedan. No customizations. I am on the website right now. I've clicked on purchase price, and I'm going with the lowest of the options. It's rear wheel drive, so not all wheel drive. Rear wheel, and it's just standard range plus is what it's called. You've got 263 mile range, estimated top speed 140 miles per hour, and a 5.3 second 0 to 60 time. I want to know what the going price for that car is.
I'm actually kind of confident with my answer.
Nick is locked in, and he is confident.
Yeah.
Ethan has locked in, and Joe has locked in. So Nick went with $35,000. Ethan went with $180,000, and Joe went with $40,000.
ooh.
This one was a close one.
Oh,
The correct answer is $36,990, which means that's a clean sweep for Nick. Oh,
let's go.
don't go up against him in estimating jelly beans. Wow. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Those were
Appreciate it.
tough.
You know, there's this game I actually found recently that it's kind of like the same thing where it's like they give you like these bizarre numbers that you have to estimate or something like how many gallons of water on the earth or like in the oceans or something crazy like that. And then you place your bets like based off that, and everyone bets, and then whoever's closest gets all the tokens. Really fun board game. I wish I remember what the name was called, but super interesting. Super fun too.
Well done on the trivia today, gentlemen.
Yeah, that was an interesting episode. So thank you all for tuning in and listening. Hopefully, I have another super interesting episode next time. So thank you all, and bye-bye.